So I recall us talking about TwitchCon just a few years ago. I'm surprised that it still lives on to this day. But back in 2022, they were already facing calls for a boycott and an end to Twitch's annual conference. Back then, they were facing backlash for reported safety concerns, accessibility issues, and misgendering of guests at the time. And there were some members of their security team at the time claiming that they were being verbally abused by TwitchCon attendees as well. There were a lot of injuries, safety issues.
It's like a Reddit thread, or it's like a Reddit conference. You can smell the room.
Yeah, and I'm just like, are any of us surprised that the average attendee at TwitchCon is socially inept and probably a danger to society? None of us should be surprised at this. So there was a streamer there she goes by the name Emiru, doing a meet and greet. For context, she was forced to do this meet and greet. She did not have a choice in the matter. In order to have her show at TwitchCon, they said, this is the stipulation, you have to do a meet and greet. They not only forced her to do the meet and greet, but they also told her that she was not allowed to bring in her personal security guard.
That's crazy.
They barred her from bringing her personal security that she pays for to the event because they said, you know, you can use our security. We are a professional event. We have a lock on security. You can use our security. What ended up happening, of course, is that during this meet and greet, man just walked up to her without warning, out of nowhere, and immediately started assaulting her. And he was allowed to do this with, I mean, you can just see in the video him walking up to her with no one trying to stop him until he's already touching her.
Here's the video, guys.
So she's interacting with this fan, and then this guy just comes up and starts groping her. And then you can see him get pushed away by the security guard. And then watch the craziest part. He literally just walks away. The perpetrator just gets to walk away. He doesn't get detained. No one gets a look at his face.
Yeah.
And he just walks away from the scene of the crime. This caption says, some freak just assaulted Emiru at TwitchCon. This behavior is disgusting. I'm amazed she still came back to finish the meet and greet line. She deserves the utmost respect. This has to stop. And I also saw this still from the video getting circulated where the guy, her fan, who was in the meet and greet line just stands there like an idiot because, you know, he's the average TwitchCon attendee. Look at this guy. Yeah. He's got the classic blue side-swept Tumblr haircut, and he's just standing there like the Mike Wazowski meme. Quite enraging that, you know, it was a victim of the bystander effect, right? Yeah. Well, and like, nobody stepped in to stop it. And this guy was lumbering up to her like a maniac. He could have stabbed her for all we know. This could have been a Christina Grimmie level incident.
It wasn't like the staging of the scene wasn't very well because the security should have been between the barrier and them.
Where was the barrier? Was there even a barrier at all?
Yeah, like you can tell from the angle that the guy comes out at, the security was basically off stage and behind, in no real place to act if something happens.
Right. So she could have died, literally, and as this video was circulating and Twitch was getting dragged for their lack of security and lack of concern for the talent that literally makes this event happen, they ended up putting out their own statement in response to this situation, saying, the safety and security of all those attending TwitchCon is our highest priority. The behavior displayed by the individual involved in the incident yesterday, involving a high-profile streamer, was completely unacceptable and deeply upsetting. In line with existing TwitchCon protocols, law enforcement and event security were on site and responded to the incident. We immediately blocked this individual from returning to TwitchCon, and they are banned indefinitely from Twitch, both online and in-person events. We are coordinating with the impacted creators team, and per our standard protocols, continue to cooperate with any law enforcement investigations. We have increased security at the meet and greet attendee check-in point, and we'll have additional security personnel surrounding participating streamers. If you RSVP'd for a meet and greet, note that we are unable to accommodate +1s for the remainder of the event. Twitch has zero tolerance for harassment or acts that inhibit the safety and security of our community. So this is littered with blatant lies about the protocols that they take for their events. As noted here below in the community note, Twitch staff originally allowed the assailant to walk away and only apprehended him and escorted him out when they were pressed to do so by Emiru's manager. Additionally, security hired by Twitch laughed at the situation straight after it happened and did nothing to assist. Emiru has now clarified she is pressing charges, so there will be an investigation into this guy. But yes, she was barred from having her own security. And she even stated that there were staff of TwitchCon laughing, getting drunk, and partying the same day that this happened and was circulating online. Here was her statement after Twitch's statement. "Hello, everyone. I'm okay, and thank you for the kind messages. Yesterday, the man who assaulted me was allowed to cross multiple barriers at TwitchCon and in front of another creator's meet and greet to grab me and my face and try to kiss me. Fortunately, he wasn't able to, but a lot of people have pointed out it could have been a lot worse. I'm obviously shaken up by what happened, and it's not the first time I've dealt with something like this. But to tell you honestly, I'm a lot more hurt and upset by how Twitch handled it during and after the fact.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't understand how he was allowed to make it to me in the first place. The security in the clip who reacts is my own security. It's true, my favorite and usual security guard was banned for holding a stalker's arm to bring him to the police at a past TwitchCon. However, there were at least 3 or 4 TwitchCon security staff in the area who did not react and let the guy walk away, as you can see in the clip, since they don't even appear in the frame.
Yeah.
The woman who was walking me away is my own manager, and behind the booth, the only 2 people who were checking on me and comforting me were her and my friend. None of the TwitchCon staff came to ask what happened."
So you can tell that the reason why, like I said, the security seemed poorly staged because he wasn't even allowed to be the actual security. That was her private security that was basically told, you have no authority here, and was forced to stay in a position that was poorly staged.
They're more mad at the security guard for pushing the guy that attacked her than the guy who attacked her. My friend who was present told me Twitch security were also behind the booth afterwards, joking about how they didn't see what happened and immediately laughing and moving on to talk about something else. So if no one was checking if I was okay or needed anything, they let the guy run away initially. I have no idea what anyone hired to keep the event safe was doing. In Twitch's statement, they said that the guy was immediately caught and detained. That is a blatant lie. He was allowed to walk away from my meet and greet, and I didn't hear he was caught until hours after. And it felt like this only happened because of my manager pressing for it, not because of TwitchCon staff present thought it was a big deal. I have a lot more I want to say, but I will say on a stream later. Thank you again. Sorry you had to see that. This is my last TwitchCon. It saddens me to say, as a 10-year off and on attendee. I think other creators should seriously consider not attending in the future. I didn't feel protected, even bringing my own security and staff. I can't imagine how creators without those options would feel. And she did follow up with a stream responding to the situation. Here is what she said, claiming that Twitch representatives were out partying the night after the incident in this video posted by Timcast News, actually.
Yes, of all the...
I've been talking to Twitch people, and I'm really upset because I noticed a lot of negligence around the event, and I'm not happy with the way that they're handling it now. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I asked them, you know, like, what are they gonna do about this? And you know what they said initially? They said, oh, well, he's banned from the platform for 30 days. What? And then she's obviously like, hello? Like, that needs to be indefinite. What the fuck are you talking about? Also, that's like nothing to do with anything. No one gives a fuck if he's banned on Twitch or not. Like, we're talking about the convention here. So they change it to indefinite. Takes an hour for that to happen, by the way. These 2 people are the head of security for Amazon and the head of risk for Twitch.
So they're just trying to cover their asses. Legally speaking.
Also, later the same night, I'm not gonna drop names here because I wasn't there, so I didn't see it. But I had multiple people tell me that key Twitch representatives last night were out partying.
Yeah.
Okay.
It gives me the same vibes as TanaCon, where like obviously like all of these 14-year-olds were getting a heat stroke outside of this fake event that she put on for clout. And then like people are getting wheeled away on gurneys. They're going to the hospital. People are passing out. And then Tana just goes to a party that night and like is drunk on Snapchat.
Yeah.
That's the same exact vibes. Only, I guess, a little bit worse in Tana's case since the whole event was named after her. But yeah, this obviously could have ended in a gruesome, disturbing way. I mean, everyone remembers Christina Grimmie.
You brought up Christina Grimmie.
That was at a meet and greet where she was shot to death by a stalker. It's beyond past the point where these risks need to be taken seriously. And if you had told me that like TwitchCon was on hiatus this year or had been for years at this point, I wouldn't have been surprised. I didn't know this still existed. Twitch is operating on a loss. Yeah. It's just owned by Amazon, obviously, so they can afford to keep it going for the cultural relevance that it still has somehow. It's
almost more. So there's all sorts of different types of conventions. There's your Comic-Cons. There, you get the regular celebrities. Like I said, I watch a lot of wrestling podcasts. There's a lot of wrestlers that make good money doing the convention circuit, to go and sign autographs and do meet and greets. But I think maybe even more than traditional celebrities, the internet celebrities would require even more security because there's an even more parasocial relationship between your average streamer and your average celebrity, and it's something that needs to be taken into serious account. On top of the fact that, look, the mainstream celebrities, they're going to have their own security. The insurance, I'm sure, is sky high for these types of events and stuff. But if we're talking about a streamer, I see some people in the chat were saying like, I don't know who this is. But the thing is, like, that's the kind of the way things are now with internet celebrities, right? You hear about some person you've never heard of, but 10 million other people have heard of them. And that's a lot of people. Yeah. And a lot of that relationship is very much parasocial. And it's this weird form of pseudo reciprocation that forces people into this almost insanity, like this insane headspace where they think that they have a personal relationship with that person, and it's a recipe for disaster. It's just insane that Twitch actually thought a way to remedy the situation was suspending the guy 30-day ban on their platform online. How did they even do that if they hadn't got the guy yet? Well, they did eventually, of course, and found out who he was. But they're like, don't worry, we found his account and we banned it. How about you get the police involved? I mean, obviously, it's been pointed out, if Twitch can't even moderate the content that's on their platform, how could they possibly run an in-person event with thousands of people? They failed miserably at both. And it was just recently they were investigated again for turning a blind eye to basically PDF file rings on their platform. They have been caught red-handed in these situations over and over and over again. I believe we actually did talk about that at some point on the channel. There were active PDF file rings on Twitch, not facing any consequences, where they were flooding themselves into streams of unsupervised children and prompting them to show themselves on camera. Yeah. And Twitch was like, oh, I guess we didn't catch that problem. We'll get right on that. We'll patch that. Sorry about that. Oops. Meanwhile, they're just letting straight up porn, like softcore porn, get streamed on their homepage, and they're a 13+ platform, which is disgusting. There's another clip from TwitchCon getting a lot of attention. This was a Twitch streamer accusing another Twitch streamer of objectifying her.
Hello, how you doing today? Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Emiru.
Hi.
Emiru.
Emiru.
Just call me Em.
Em.
Yes.
I am.
What's your name?
Neon.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
That's horrifying.
Real quick, Emiru. I'm doing a little after party.
Okay.
I would love for you to come.
Why?
Because you're very beautiful.
We gotta go.
I love being objectified.
Come on, let's go. See, like, that's a fake problem. Emiru getting assaulted is a real problem. Yes. Like, that's why people aren't taken seriously when they say things like that. And then this was just a meme about Twitch security. This is the level that they're doing security checkpoints. They're just like, I'm gonna hover my hands over you and act like I have a metal detector. Not real footage from the event, by the way, but it might as well have been.
Yep.
You never know. You just don't know who is interacting with your content online.
Yeah.
And you know, you guys were joking last week when I was like talking about this not being parasocial culture crisis, but I mean it, because that's an important distinction to make. To just put it out there for the sake of transparency and the fact that we know that there are humans on the other end watching this show. We have to draw that distinction, you know? Do
you want to give people a little bit of insight? Because it's got to be particularly difficult, you know, being a woman in the space. And I'm sure that any of the women in this space, it's a very different thing for the guys as opposed to the girls.
It's lame to talk about it, though, you know? And it feels like Streisand affecting as well. But, you know, I've had people threaten to come to my house, and
you've showed me like some of the weird shit,
some really bad stuff. And I won't get into detail because it's just, you know, people like that, they want the attention because they're insane. They're probably, you know, undiagnosed schizophrenics or unmedicated crazies out there. And, you know, I've had several, like more than I can count, people that send me messages who believe that I'm communicating with them, like telepathically, believe that we have a relationship and that they're not being acknowledged by me. This is something that I've heard Candace Owens talk about. She had a really bad stalker case where this guy had a delusion that they were in a relationship and that she was delivering him secret messages in her podcast episodes. And it ended up in a situation where he was trying to find her in person to hurt her.
Yeah.
He ended up getting institutionalized, and she told the story after the fact, of course, because she couldn't talk about it while it was ongoing. But this is just true across the board, and like, it's just pathetic that they don't seem to take it seriously.
Yeah.
As a threat.
Seemed like there was like some, like I don't know.
I mean, even after Charlie Kirk, you know, like these things need to be taken seriously.
I mean, this happened.
Politics aside,
this has happened with the events for Culture War, and
right.
the amount of time and effort that goes into trying to secure a location just so people can have a conversation about immigration or something like that.
That's like a lot of Antifa threats too.
Yep.
For Tim in particular.
Yeah, it's scary stuff.
People are scared about, you know, doing in-person events right now, understandably.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.